SnowTrax is sponsored by Ski-Doo Snowmobiles, Yamaha conquers snow, and by FXR Racing, full throttle addiction.
Every season at about this time, the whole crew at SnowTrax TV gathers together for a battle of epic proportions. The purpose of said melee is to determine which sled from our extensive fleet is most deserving of our prestigious and much coveted SnowTrax Real World Sled of the Year award. Opinions are expressed, eyebrows are raised, and eventually the hammer drops. In 2016, every manufacturer built snowmobiles that were worth every penny they cost and were a straight-up joy to ride. Still, we had to narrow the list down to just 4. The group we started with, though, included the following: Yamaha's Viper RTX, Arctic Cat's ZR7000 Snow Pro and ZR6000 137 Limited, Ski-Doo's Enduro 800 and MXZ X 800, and Polaris's AXYS Switchback Adventure 800 and AXYS Pro S Rush 800. The Real World Sled of the Year is one that provides the best mix of handling, comfort, reliability, ride quality, durability, and price. So we trimmed our list down further and came up with 4 we feel are most deserving of this accolade. They are Yamaha's Viper RTX, Arctic Cat's ZR6000 Limited, Polaris's AXYS Pro S Rush, and Ski-Doo's MXZ X. Right off the bat, I'd like to say any of these sleds would be a great choice for nearly any rider. Yet there are those that stand out even further, and one in particular that we feel edges out the rest, if only by a small margin. So here's our opinions on our top 4 choices. Yamaha's come a long way over the past 3 to 4 seasons. Yes, their partnership with Arctic Cat seemed to be the catalyst for this progression, but beyond that, they've taken a new approach to building snowmobiles. The Viper RTX is a perfect example. Finally, we have a Yamaha that rides decent. Still, as good as these Fox Float 3 Evols are, we feel when it comes to trail sleds, air shock should be exiled to the far side of the moon. But finally, the stock settings are livable. Better overall setups under the hood have resulted in a sled that is noticeably better in almost every condition. Ergonomically, the 2016 Viper is excellent. It's comfortable, it's easy to move around on. We've never heard anybody have anything negative to say about how they fit on this sled. What they do have complaints about are 2 different but equally noticeable things. First, the skis. This chassis was designed to work best with a single keel ski. With a single keel ski, this chassis is an incredible handler. But these dual keel tuner skis Yamaha's using are not a step up. They leave the sled feeling less precise and less predictable in the corners. I will say they help a bit with darting, but the reality is this sled doesn't dart much with regular skis, so it's really not worth the trade-off. The second area we're just not that pumped about is the clutching, and this is something we've taken issue with for quite some time. And here's the biggest issue with this problem. This sled has a counterpart in the Arctic Cat 7000, and it has a great clutch setup. If there was nothing to compare the Viper to, it might not be so noticeable. But because we can climb off the excellently clutched 7000 onto the Viper, its clutch shortcomings are more noticeable. Despite these shortcomings, Yamaha's Viper RTX is a good snowmobile that's very deserving to be on this list. We'd like to see a little bit more progression from Yamaha, and we know we will in 2017.
SnowTrax is sponsored by MBRP Performance Exhaust, lightweight performance.
Arctic Cat has absolutely come the farthest this season. Big changes in 2015 saw the Procross chassis move up our list of favorites across the board. But a few things, most notably ride quality, still needed improvement. In 2016, Arctic Cat came to the party with what we think is the best thing to happen to snowmobile suspension in decades: the Fox QS3. Any sled these shocks were installed on rode excellent. Interestingly enough, these sleds also handled better than ones equipped with air shocks. This is more than likely because the front end of the sled actually moved in the bumps. Enough can't be said about Arctic Cat's 6000 series 600cc C-Tech 2 power plant. We fell in love with this motor the very first time we pulled its trigger, and our feelings have only grown since. Not a single person on our crew would disagree for even a millisecond that this is the best 600 class motor on the snow. It's snappy, it's super fast, it's good on gas and oil, it sounds amazing, and its perfectly tuned set of team clutches are just outstanding. Our ZR6000 test sled obviously included both of these features. The Fox QS3 shock package and that awesome 600cc motor made this sled an absolute pleasure to ride. In fact, it was hard to get it away from people once they tried it. The chassis is balanced and predictable, it's nimble, it's comfortable, and it rides great. We're pretty impressed with the all green and black color scheme on this sled as well. Now, it may not be your cup of tea, but we happen to really like it. The Limited comes with a whole host of additional features aimed at making the ride better for the driver. Small things like storage bags, tunnel deflectors, bumpers, they all make a difference, and in this case, the difference is a good one. The final piece of the puzzle with our ZR6000 Limited is its 137-inch slide action skid frame. Look, the bottom line is, a 129 is better than a 120 or 121, and a 137 is even better than that, especially if you want to do any off-trail riding. If the whole industry moved away from the 120s toward 129s, we'd be fine with that. But the 137 is a length that needs to stick around for a long time. Overall, there is everything to like about Arctic's ZR6000 Limited and nothing to dislike. Skidoo's MXZ X 800 is quite simply put an excellent piece of snow traveling machinery. The list of things to love about this sled is long, and it's proven itself to be as reliable as it is fun to ride. The most notable attribute of this sled is, and has always been, its incredibly precise handling. Yes, it comes at the cost of general front-end stability, but you just can't argue with how flat and precise this thing steers. This may very well be a love-hate thing, to be honest. Do I love how this sled goes exactly where I point it every time? Yes. Do I strongly dislike how nervous and darty the front end feels? Also, yes. Credit must be given to the incredibly innovative Pilot TS adjustable ski and carbide system though. When adjusted properly, it does help calm the front of the XS down, but it's not a complete fix. Which of those attributes is most important to you is completely up to you and you alone. But there's so many other things to love about this sled, and one of those things is the R-Motion skid frame. I'd go so far as to say it is currently the best riding rear suspension in the industry. Its ability to handle everything from small stutter bumps to huge gravity cavities without ever losing its cool is almost unbelievable. It transfers weight really nicely and it's super easy to adjust. If you've found something to dislike about the R-Motion, I'd like to know what it is because I haven't. Ergonomically, the Rev XS chassis is good. It feels just a little bit strange when you first climb on, but pretty much everyone agrees. Once you get a few miles under your belt, this sled is easy to get used to. The only other areas of this sled we think could use a makeover both relate to the front end. First, the ride quality of the front suspension just isn't on par with that excellent R-Motion out back, and second, the front end really just isn't as strong as it needs to be. These are things we've been preaching about this sled since the Rev XP first hit the snow. It's been quite a few years since then, and we already know there's something new coming in 2017. Polaris has hit a home run with the AXYS Pro S. Polaris diehards feel right at home on this sled, and even people who want to dislike it end up having to agree it's an excellent snowmobile to ride. Pro XC rear suspension has come so far since the first rush hit the snow. It's been improved dramatically to the point that it's so close to the R-Motion in terms of ride quality, it's almost too close to call. Big, small, or anything in between, it just doesn't seem to matter. The Pro XC rear end can handle any bump in its path, and extra marks need to be given for how good the front arm of this skid actually works. Big bonus marks also need to go to how this skid frame facilitates what Polaris calls rider-balanced control. Sounds like a gimmick in a car commercial, but for once, the real-world experience lives up to the fancy name. There's never been a sled that's more drastically affected by where the rider places their weight. The AXYS can carve twisties and keep its skis on the ground if the rider moves forward on the seat. Or it can loft its skis to the sky and transfer weight like a big lad on a unicycle if the rider sits further back. This makes riding an AXYS a very exciting, interesting, and engaging experience. What good is a great rear suspension if the front suspension isn't equally as great? This isn't a question you need to ponder with the AXYS Pro S because the front end works every bit as good as the rear. In fact, we'd go so far as to say this is the best riding and handling front suspension in the business. Another thing you don't have to ponder is whether a sled can be truly great if its motor doesn't live up to its chassis. Simply put, the Polaris 800 Clean Fire engine is the most impressive 800 class power plant we've ever ridden. It revs lightning fast, but still engages smoothly and pulls super hard from initial squeeze all the way to full shift. It sounds great, it's good on gas and oil, it runs smooth, and it's really, really fast. Everything about this motor, from how it runs to how it's clutched, is just magic. Ergonomically, the Pro S Rush seems to be a one-size-fits-all. It's like the yoga pant of the snowmobile world. Everyone fits, everyone's comfortable, and functionally, everything is exactly where it should be. When we say everyone, we mean it too. We've never heard a single person say they don't feel comfortable on an AXYS. So what could possibly be improved on a sled we like as much as we like the AXYS Pro S? If we had to pick one thing, it would be track length. As I said earlier, we think a 129 in terms of track length is the way to go for trail sleds. More traction, more stable handling, and a better ride without sacrificing anything but maybe a few pounds of weight. This makes a 129 superior to a 120 in our opinion. We would love to see Polaris move the Rush to a 129 inch. So there you have it. There's our breakdown of the things we like and dislike about each of our top 4 nominees. The next job becomes narrowing things down from 4 to just 2.
SnowTrax is sponsored by Snowmobile in Quebec. Experience a ride you'll never forget.
Narrowing down our 2016 SnowTrax real-world Sled of the Year contenders from 4 to just 2 was actually quite easy this season. Not because 2 of these sleds were bad, simply because 2 of them were just so good. Everyone agreed that for 2016, our top 2 picks should be Polaris's Rush Pro S800 and Arctic Cat's ZR 6000 Limited. Every time both of these sleds were out on the snow, people had nothing but great things to say about them. The Arctic Cat was praised not only for being a great riding, handling, and performing snowmobile, but also for how improved it was over last season. The Polaris received equal praise for how it rode, handled, and performed, as well as how Polaris had managed to take a sled that was so good last year and make it just that much better. If the SnowTrax Real World Sled of the Year award could be shared, not a single person in our crew would feel disappointed if they both won. But that ain't how we roll. You expect a winner, and we're not afraid to give you one. When all things were considered regarding Arctic Cat's ZR 6000 Limited 137 and Polaris's AXYS Pro S Rush 800, the results were so incredibly close. But it was the AXYS Pro S that came out on top for its 2nd year in a row. We all agree, the things that make this sled stand out are how easy and predictable it handles, how engaging it is to ride, how good its suspension works, how comfortable it is ergonomically, and how impressive that 800 motor is on the snow. If you're thinking that list seems to cover nearly every aspect of this sled, you're right. As much as we love Polaris's AXYS Pro S Rush, we also love Arctic Cat's ZR 6000 Limited, and it deserves a lot of respect for how close its 2nd place finish was this season. Truth is, these are both world-class snowmobiles. They are both the best snowmobiles our industry has ever seen. Anyone who bought either would be more than 100% satisfied. At the end of the day, the Polaris AXYS Pro S Rush 800 is just a tiny bit better, and is, therefore, the very deserving recipient of SnowTrax Television's 2016 Real World Sled of the Year Award.
Well, it's come to that time of the year again when our annual RAD Award is going to be handed out. RAD stands for Revolutionary Advanced Design, and it must be a product that's available to consumers on the current model year sleds. RAD to us is the evolution of the sport, bringing a new product to market that truly ups the game for snowmobilers. While RAD does not mean a sole focus on the most elite or the high-performance category, we do require that it adds a tangible benefit for the rider and helps to elevate the technology of the snowmobile, and this year it has done just that. So without further ado, we present the 2016 SnowTrax TV RAD Award to Skidoo for their revolutionary new Pilot TS adjustable carbide ski and spindle package that has truly changed the way that we look at a carbide runner. The Pilot TS ski allows the operator to easily adjust the depth of the carbide to best match changes in snow conditions, resulting in precise steering and control with very little input. This innovation benefits riders on 2 fronts. First, for novice riders not adept to altering their riding style, they can confidently rely on the mechanical advantage of either more carbide in loose snow conditions or less carbide in hard pack. For intermediate to advanced riders with a better understanding of the different carbide combinations in the market, the benefit is obvious. They no longer have to go to the extent of changing out runners. Rather, they can now simply twist with their wrist to achieve the steering control that they desire. Ultimately, the Pilot TS offers an increase in technology and convenience, but more importantly, an increase in safety and control, making this the obvious choice for the SnowTrax TV 2016 Revolutionary Advanced Design Award.
SnowTrax is sponsored by Princess Auto, a unique world of equipment, tools, and more. Closed captioning of SnowTrax is sponsored by Triton Trailer, built for adventure.
Most folks associate working an off-road vehicle with summertime, ATV, or side-by-side use. But the truth is, there's a lot of people who use a snowmobile to get stuff done during the cold winter months. But to get a lot done, you need a lot of sled. Skidoo has always had an interest in the utility category. It's a big deal for them, as some of the earliest designed snowmobiles from Skidoo served a utility purpose. And for this test ride, I'm going to show you what might just be the ultimate crossover snowmobile, and not what you typically think of a crossover to be. Nope, this thing is worlds of difference. The Expedition Xtreme is an animal unto its own. It uses very unique suspension, bodywork, and storage that makes it something special. The Expedition comes in a variety of trim levels, but today I'm testing the Xtreme, which is essentially an X package and comes standard with the 800 E-Tech, aluminum rebuildable shocks all around, and a 1.75 lug track that's 20 flippin' inches wide and 154 inches long. It may just be the most flotation on snow. Let's start off with what this sled is built to do and not to do. Yes, it's called an Expedition, but keep in mind that Skidoo also offers the Tundra line that is built for those who truly want to work. So what is the Expedition, and what makes it so extreme? It's called the meanest and fastest sport utility snowmobile ever offered by Skidoo's marketing team. And I don't think I'll be disagreeing. While it's very capable of pulling a load or running a sap line, the truth is this Expedition Xtreme is meant for going anywhere with ultimate capability. I'm talking trail, to lake, to hydroline, to bushline, and anywhere in between. And because it's the equivalent of an X package, it can do it at a high rate of speed and still keep you in control. Up front is RAS2 geometry linked with HPG plus R rebound adjustable shocks that are pretty much standard on all Skidoo X packages, but it's what's out back that is not so standard. The SC5U is an interesting blend of mountain, trail, and utility with a 154-inch footprint, 20 inches of width, and a very functional articulating rear portion of the rails. This design allows you to back up without getting buried, keeping maximum flotation in the powder, and a lockout when towing to keep the best footprint possible. It truly makes a 154 feel shorter and allows you to get into tricky spots easier, but more importantly, maneuver backwards when it's somewhere you don't want to be and not trench the massive track. While this sled does use the 800 E-Tech, it's not linked to the typical RER engine reverse. No, this thing uses something that's completely different yet again. It's called the Synchromesh transmission, and it's designed to deliver excellent performance when towing or hauling. It has 2 forward gears, neutral, and reverse, and also a feature that allows you to shift on the fly from high to low range. Does it work? Yeah. Does it shift well? Not really. It's been one of the complaints we had here at the SnowTrax and SuperTrax World headquarters that the transmission just doesn't like to positively engage without a little input from the throttle to drop it into gear. Once it is positively engaged, it's great, but if you're pulling an Austin Powers 40-point turn, it can get a little frustrating. When it comes to packing your gear and getting out in the back 40, the massive rear rack on the Expedition Xtreme is extremely capable. The rear rack is made of aluminum and offers a wide variety of accessories from Skidoo to outfit you properly. But in its stock form, it's quite capable, offering a large bin-type opening and many attachment points for straps and hooks with the surrounding aluminum frame. With so many features and benefits, this truly is a capable sled, and it's just that capability off-trail that makes this snowmobile worthy of its extreme name. One of Skidoo's focuses with the Xtreme was its ability to traverse off-trail conditions with ease, and no matter where you find yourself, it seems this sled will stop, turn around, and take off without any issue or concern of getting stuck. It has the same front-end geometry as the Summit line to allow for easy side hilling, and while it's a big track, both in length and width, it's still surprisingly maneuverable, both off the trail and once you get back on the trail and need to return home. Can you ride this sled like an MXZ? Well, the short answer is no.
but you're also not going to get the same places that you can go on an expedition. And that's why I think that this sled is a true representation of a crossover snowmobile. Yes, it's the most overused word in the snowmobile industry, but here it fits. This sled is ultimately capable off-trail and still a lot of fun on-trail. It's got lots of get up and go thanks to the 163 horsepower E-Tech, and even if you find yourself in a situation where you want to get spirited and ride with the buds on the flat top, you're going to have no problem keeping up. The larger bodywork keeps you warmer than the XS chassis, the cargo rack gives you the ultimate capability, and heck, you can even buy the accessory 2-up seat and take the family along for the ride too. While many will look at the Expedition and wonder why, I look at it and say, why not? In a world that demands almost everything to be multi-purpose, this Expedition Xtreme truly has the strength of a Clydesdale with the performance of a racehorse. This is a crossover snowmobile.
SnowTrax has been sponsored by Polaris Terrain Domination, Arctic Cat, share our passion, and by Ontario Highlands, come wander.
If you've enjoyed this video and would like to see more content from SnowTrax TV, click the like button and subscribe to the SnowTrax TV YouTube channel.